Warzone Battle Royale comes out tomorrow, and perhaps when you watch this video, it may already be out. I'm incredibly stoked to get my hands on it and grind it out non-stop, and hopefully you are as well. So to help you get situated and comfortable when you jump into it, in this video I want to talk about 20 tips to help you be the best that you can be right out of the gate. These tips will likely be expanded upon in the future, but from my early time at the Infinity Ward studio a few weeks back, these are the tips that I picked up on from successes and failures in my own gameplay that I want to share with you guys to help raise the bar for your own gameplay. With that said though, let me know your thoughts. What are you excited to jump into with Warzone the most? Any particular location you're looking to drop into? Any particular weapon you want to use? As well, do be sure to hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already. If you're a part of that nearly 64% of viewers who are not subscribed, make sure you do so you don't miss a single bit of the content coming from Warzone over the course of the next who knows how long. I'm incredibly excited to share with you guys everything we have here, but anyways, let's get into it. We got 20 tips here, so let's break this down into some more digestible bits and some different categories. Let's break this down into general tips, in-game tips, tips for gunfights, and then also survival and strategic tactics. Starting at the very beginning, the general tips is where we'll see a bunch of this stuff come into play. Firstly, play in a squad. Right now at launch, whether or not it's expanded upon or not in the future, we don't know just yet. Trios is the defaulted grouping that you have. You can play solos or you can play duos, but you're still going to be matched up with teams of upwards of 3 players. So playing in a squad is absolutely key if you want those numbers advantages and don't want to be playing the odds of being eliminated quicker than an enemy team that you may be going up against. Additionally, communication is absolutely key. Having those squad mates to pick their brains to get the information that they know of, maybe they see somebody out in the distance that you didn't. Communication at any level, whether that be requesting ammo, whether that be spotting an enemy, whether that be calling for rotations, whatever it is absolutely key. So make sure that you use that, and that compounds on top of playing in a squad, which that communication will just come naturally. Outside of that, there is a brand new ping feature that you can end up using in your TAC map, and also I believe in-game, that will allow you to ping different locations in your viewpoint so that other players can also look in that direction as well. It's viewable only to your squad, so it's not like you mark it for the entire world to see. Instead, it's just for your squad, which is great in helping finding enemies, loot items, anything in between. Calling out coordinates is definitely great, but having a definitive marker is also really solid. Also, when dropping in, when first getting into the match, know your hot zones. This is one that'll be absolutely key, and of course is something that we're all gonna have to learn, where the higher populated locations are. Normally, whenever this kind of stuff happens, it's usually around the middle of the map. So if you want to say avoid immediate gunfights, maybe wait until the edge of the zone to drop or something similar. Or you could use that to your advantage. You could try and get some early kills and subsequently a decent amount of loot from the players you end up picking off. And that leads me into the next tip, which is simply just understanding what playstyle works for you. Not every player is going to play exactly the same. Some are going to ride zones, some are going to go headfirst into all the action, probably getting in over their heads, but it's going to vary depending on the player. And you watching this could be very different than the guy who watches this 3 hours later. So if you're not into tons of gunfights, play that perimeter of the map so you can decrease the amount of angles a gunfight could come from. If you ride gas, no one's really going to be able to survive in there because it is so powerful, like we've talked about here on the channel already. If you're a Slayer, drop hot, and heavily populated areas like downtown, airport, and promenade east and west are solid options for you there if you want some immediate action. Getting into the in-game tips now, once you're actually on the ground, firstly, of course, you need to find some loot, but the big thing is don't overloot. Don't be a loot goblin. Oftentimes, if you end up focusing too much on trying to loot specific areas or specific houses, you might not notice the situations around you. You could lose track of time. The zone could come in. A team could roll up on you. There are many things that could happen, but the biggest thing is not spending too much time just simply looting. The big one that I always like to take advantage of is kill and then loot, which is the next tip here at this. It keeps the pace of the game going, it keeps you moving, and also keeps you warm, as cliche as that sounds. Oftentimes, whenever a battle royale happens, if I can't find a player, if I find my first gunfight halfway through the match or late game, there's a good chance that I'm not properly ready for that gunfight, whether that be mentally or my aim's just not on because I haven't had to aim at somebody for quite some time. Whatever it is, I just often feel off. So killing and then looting keeps the pace up, keeps you moving, keeps you warm, and also allows you to take any enemy's loot that you may have, just compounding on top of what you do, and then you get the pick of the litter. Another big thing in-game is to know your ammo types, especially if you play with teammates. It is something that comes in handy. If you know that your teammates need a certain type of ammo, you can quickly drop that for them instead of giving them perhaps the wrong one, which doesn't help them at all. From some early gameplay, it doesn't seem like there are as many ammo types throughout that are based on different technicalities like Blackout had, but it is still something that there is some that you do need to know which goes to which weapon. Additionally, find a preferred loadout. Oftentimes it is RNG based, so you can't necessarily pick and choose, but if you know that you work well with a weapon, you know that you master it, and you know that it does well in gunfights, maybe try and find that. And if you can find it quick, that's great, but if not, work your way up to getting that. Additionally, when it comes to loadouts, take advantage of loadout drops, the brand new way to allow you to have your own ideal class setup for what you may want to have. You can sometimes find these if somebody calls in a loadout drop, but if no one does, you can purchase a loadout drop for 6,000 cash. Doing this will of course bring you to a high risk, high reward scenario of being able to get whatever loadout you want, but also dropping multiple other loadout drops for other teams to come and potentially look at. So you could be looking at an ambush, or you could be taking out other enemies with the loadouts that you got that you prefer. In gunfights, this goes for just about any battle royale. Try and have the high ground if you can. There's a lot of scenarios where there is some even playing ground, but sometimes you will have that height advantage, which if you have the height, you can back off and they have to push up to you. So it offers a little bit of time for you to either regen your health or to regroup as a solo, duo, or squad so that you can make the next move. You essentially just have the power here in this situation. Another tip is absolutely always try and hit as many headshots as possible. We've talked about the health here earlier today, but the health for Warzone is 100 by default, but you can end up having an extra 150 to the body with armor plates. These break with each shot, so it will take upwards of 3 shots to get down to the flesh, but the big part is the head is still very vulnerable. There are no helmets within Warzone, or at least not yet, so that means that not only do you take advantage of the headshot multiplier, but you also bypass the armor plates that offer extra protection. So whether you have a sniper rifle, marksman rifle, SMG, shotgun, or rifle, or anything in between, make sure you're going for those headshots because you'll be getting immediate damage to the player and not necessarily the armor they have equipped. Compounding on some health discussion, be conscious of your armor plates. Oftentimes you may not notice that they break, and they do break relatively easily, but if they do, you want to make sure that you replace them with any in your inventory or on your person as soon as possible, because the difference those 3 shots can make to the body in terms of keeping you alive is absolutely phenomenal. Sometimes you'll feel invincible, sometimes you'll get melted like butter, but if you're conscious of your armor plates and know when to replace them or when to add more, you shouldn't be getting melted as much. Additionally, be confident in your engagements. This is one big thing that I see a bunch and is something that is so crucial. If you have, say, a sniper rifle, something at range, or you're trying to sneak up on a player, if you don't trust the shot to end up either getting the kill or doing substantial damage, don't take the shot because it will give away your position, oftentimes even resulting in you going down or potentially even being completely eliminated. So know your own potential in starting gunfights before you do, so that you can think about the outcome both ways from start to finish. And also compounding on that, always have an exit plan. Don't corner yourself to the point where they could just lob a grenade in and you're stuck in there. Situations like that and others obviously never work out well. But now talking about our final category, survival and strategic tactics. Firstly, be conscious of the zone timers. Getting caught in the gas hurts so badly, so avoid it at any cost. And again, since you can't in the zone regenerate your health because there's no bandages, med kits, or trauma kits, you do have a syringe, but you only get one of those at a time. You really don't want to get caught here. So make sure you're aware of the zone timers, aware of that zone location, and know where the next safe zone is and how long it'll take for you to get there. Additionally, collect as much cash as you can, whether that be just from simply looting, whether that be from killing enemies, or if you want to do the contracts, by all means, do whatever suits you the best. But make sure that you collect as much cash because it can be a game changer mid to late game. And how you do this comes down to the next tip. Make sure that you take advantage of the buy stations. There is so much stuff that can alter the gameplay and be total curveballs to enemies, such as precision airstrikes or cluster strikes. Being able to self-revive is absolutely major. Being able to maybe dip into the gas for a little bit with a gas mask, and so on and so forth. UAVs also late game can be very helpful, so use all these features to your advantage, but you have to make sure you're stacked up on cash firstly. Additionally, make sure that you utilize the buyback feature. At some point, unless your squad is fantastic, there is a good chance you're going to have to go through the gulag. Whether or not you win, that's up to you, but if you don't, you're spectating and can be bought back by your teammate, or if you do win and go down once again, you no longer have the option to go to the gulag and fight for your freedom, and you need to be bought back once again. But this essentially will allow you to continue to play as a squad and continue to give yourself the better advantage by having an extra man comparative to maybe an enemy that does not. So utilize that early, mid, or late game whenever the situation calls for it. Vehicles are also worth taking. The map is absolutely massive, so to traverse it and to stay into the action, or maybe to dip out of the action if it gets a little too hot, vehicles are absolutely fantastic and can help out big time. And finally, the last tip I really want to talk about is that of utilizing the audio. Audio is absolutely key. There's a lot of times where it's going to be very quiet because maybe you're the only one in the entire sector, but it also is something that could help you distinguish if there's an enemy above, below, or to the side of you in a building and get ready for an engagement. So if you have a headset, make sure you wear it and have your audio settings tuned to however you feel comfortable. But overall, that is 20 tips here for Modern Warfare's Warzone and doing the best you can right on release. Again, like we said, we'll probably expand upon this sometime in the near future to give you some more in-depth tips and some more things that really can help you out in more specific areas, like maybe getting kills, maybe getting wins, anything in between. We'll keep you up to date with all that kind of stuff, but hopefully this helped you out in some way, shape, or form. If it did, make sure you drop a like down below, and of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Modern Warfare, updates, news, information, tips, tricks, all that good stuff. We got you covered here on the channel, so if any of that interests you, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing. If you guys also want to follow me over on Twitter and Instagram, those are the best places to get connected outside of YouTube. Practically live on both those, so if you guys want to strike up a conversation, ask me a question, whatever it may be, that link is down there in the description below. Well, let's head out of the way. Thank you guys all so much for watching. My name has been Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care, and peace.